This is part 2. If you have not seen part 1, go watch it first. The link is in the description. In part 1, this investigation documented how chemotherapy was born from a classified World War II experiment using a chemical weapon, how the first patient died in 96 days, how a peer-reviewed meta-analysis by 3 Australian oncologists found that across 22 major adult cancers, the overall contribution of cytotoxic chemotherapy to 5-year survival was 2.1% in the United States. Part 1 asked the question, what if there is information the system is not sharing with patients? Part 2 investigates the practitioners who said there was, and what happened to them when they spoke up. This channel is an investigation, not a prescription. Both sides are presented. Every source is linked. Always consult your physician. In the 1970s, a medical doctor named Stanislaw Burzynski was working at Baylor College of Medicine in Houston, Texas, when he isolated a group of peptide compounds from human blood and urine. He called them antinoplastins. His claim was that these compounds could act as molecular switches, reprogramming cancer cells toward normal function instead of destroying them. The FDA's position was clear. This was an unproven treatment. Burzynski was indicted on 75 criminal counts, including fraud and contempt. The legal battle consumed years of his life, his finances, and his reputation. When the case went to trial, the jury heard the evidence from both sides, and the jury acquitted him on every single count. One juror was quoted afterwards saying that if people have no alternatives and want to try an experimental treatment, they should be able to. After the acquittal, the FDA permitted Burzynski to conduct clinical trials at his own clinic. He published a 2006 study suggesting potential benefits in specific brain tumors. But the National Cancer Institute states that no randomized controlled trials have been published in peer-reviewed literature. Memorial Sloan Kettering states there is a lack of conclusive evidence. The Texas Medical Board recommended revoking his license in 2017, later suspending the action with a $360,000 fine. 75 charges, 0 convictions, published studies, but no randomized trials. Still practicing, still controversial. Both sides documented. You decide. Fresh organic juices being pressed. Vibrant greens, oranges, reds. Then exterior of a clinic in Tijuana, Mexico. Then transition to NC documents. Medical review papers. In the 1930s, Dr. Max Gerson, a German-born physician, developed a dietary protocol originally for his own migraines, then for tuberculosis, and eventually applied it to cancer patients. The regimen was intensive, up to 13 glasses of fresh organic juice per day, coffee enemas for liver detoxification, and targeted supplementation. His theory was that cancer resulted from metabolic dysfunction and toxic accumulation, and that restoring the body's internal environment could allow it to heal itself. Gerson therapy has never been validated by a peer-reviewed randomized controlled trial. The National Cancer Institute reviewed his cases and found no evidence of effectiveness by their standards. The American Cancer Society has noted that the protocol can be dangerous due to nutrient deficiencies from the extreme dietary restrictions. Studies reviewed by CAM Cancer found the case reports methodologically flawed, and yet, the CHIPSA Hospital in Tijuana, Mexico, has operated since 1978, offering Gerson therapy combined with modernized immunotherapy, including Coley's toxins and dendritic cell therapy. American cancer patients continue to fly to Mexico, pay out of pocket, and seek this treatment in a country where it is legal. A case report published by the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center documented a patient with stage 2 Hodgkin disease who used a raw vegan diet and natural supplements under the observation of an oncologist and achieved clinical remission. One case, not proof, but documented. Whether patients choosing alternative protocols is desperation or informed choice depends on who you ask. But the fact that it happens routinely, that Americans leave the country where they are diagnosed to seek treatment in a country where it is legal, is not debatable. It is documented. Alfredo Darrington Bowman, known publicly as Dr. Sebi, was not a doctor. He held no medical degree and no formal medical training. He was a Honduran-born self-taught herbalist who developed an alkaline plant-based dietary system he called African Bioelectric Cell Food Therapy. He claimed his herbal compounds and dietary protocol had helped patients with a range of conditions. In 1987, New York detectives arrested him on 2 counts of practicing medicine without a license after he placed ads claiming to address diseases including AIDS. What happened next is documented in court records. Bowman brought approximately 77 patient witnesses to the courtroom, some with documentation from licensed physicians supporting their accounts. The jury heard the testimony. The jury found Bowman not guilty. The acquittal was legally specific. The prosecution could not prove that Bowman had made a medical diagnosis, which was required to sustain the charge. The court did not rule that his herbal products were medically effective. That is an important distinction. And separately, the New York Assistant Attorney General filed a civil suit against Bowman, resulting in a consent agreement that prohibited him from making therapeutic claims for his products, plus a $900 fine. Bowman died in 2016. His legacy remains deeply polarizing, but one principle from his case applies to every investigation on this channel: documentation beats conversation. He brought witnesses, he brought records, he brought evidence into a courtroom. Whatever your opinion of his methods, he showed up with paperwork. And the jury made their decision. This investigation does not involve alternative medicine. This involves mainstream pharmaceutical drugs approved through the FDA's own accelerated approval pathway. A 2023 cross-sectional analysis published in peer-reviewed literature found that 7 cancer drugs the FDA approved and later withdrew from the U.S. market remained approved in Japan. 8 remained approved in Europe. In 71% of the Japanese cases and 63% of the European cases, the U.S. withdrawal was not due to safety. It was because the manufacturer failed to complete required post-marketing confirmatory trials in time. Patients in Japan and Europe can access cancer drugs today that American patients cannot. Not because the drugs were dangerous, because of paperwork deadlines. In 1893, Dr. William Coley injected a dying cancer patient with bacterial toxins. The immune response caused the tumor to shrink. He spent 40 years refining the approach. When radiation emerged, Coley's method was abandoned. Too unpredictable, too dangerous, too unscientific. 130 years later, the Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded in 2018 for immunotherapy, the exact principle Coley pioneered, activating the immune system to attack cancer. The principle was validated. It just took 130 years and a new name. There is one more substance generating significant public interest. Fenbendazole is a veterinary deworming medication. Preclinical studies, meaning laboratory and animal studies, have suggested it may inhibit cancer cell replication. The interest is enormous. The search volume online is massive, but this channel must be transparent about something. Fenbendazole is not FDA approved for any human use. There are no published randomized controlled trials in humans. And discussing unapproved drugs for cancer treatment in detail carries the highest risk of YouTube policy violations of any topic covered on this channel. The Metabolic Files is not going to risk being removed from this platform and losing the ability to bring you future investigations by covering this substance beyond what has just been stated. If the regulatory landscape changes, this file will be reopened. Until then, the published data is limited, the human evidence is anecdotal, and this channel's ability to continue serving you depends on staying within platform guidelines. That is the honest truth, and honesty is the only thing the Metabolic Files trades in. This 2-part investigation has covered the history of cancer from 1 in 20 to 1 in 2. The birth of chemotherapy from a classified chemical weapon. The first patient who died in 96 days. A published meta-analysis that found chemotherapy contributes 2.1% to 5-year survival across 22 major adult cancers. A doctor indicted on 75 charges and acquitted on every one. An herbalist who brought 77 witnesses to court. Drugs pulled from America but still prescribed in Japan. And a 130-year-old treatment that mainstream medicine reinvented and gave a new name. Both sides have been presented on every practitioner and every treatment. The sources are published. The court records are public. The regulatory filings are accessible. I started this investigation because someone I loved did not get to hear what you just heard. My mother fought ovarian cancer. She trusted the system. She followed the instructions. And she is not here anymore. I cannot change that. But I can make sure that the next person facing that diagnosis, or the next family sitting in that waiting room, has access to every piece of published research, every documented court case, and every historical record that exists. So they can ask better questions, have harder conversations, and make decisions based on all the evidence, not just the evidence someone chose to show them. If this investigation made you think of someone, drop their name in the comments, not for the algorithm, for them. They deserve to be remembered. And if someone you love is fighting this disease right now, send them this video, today, before their next appointment. Because they deserve to walk into that room knowing what the published research says. Every source from both parts of this investigation is linked in the descriptions below. Read them. That is the entire point. This channel is not operated by a medical professional. Nothing presented constitutes medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. All information comes from published peer-reviewed research, documented court records, and publicly available historical records. Consult a qualified healthcare provider before making any decisions about your health. The truth is out there. I will see you in the next file.